He does tell me all the time he's so sure about me. But today I'm kind of realizing that doesn't necessarily mean he's so sure about getting married to me.
Who does she want to marry? She has to choose. Whatever decision you make, I promise you one thing. I'm not gonna take it personal or hold it against you.
My decision is I want to marry it with you.
With me?
Yes.
So today is the day before Sarper and Shekinah are due to wed. But Sarper has just taken off running, he's bailed. Now for Shekinah, this doesn't really pose a problem. She knows where he is anyway. Why? Well, much to Sarper's shock, it turns out she's been secretly tracking him this entire time.
Why didn't you tell me that I have a tracker on me?
Because I just
Want to know my location. I'm not doing anything.
Shekinah claims it's just for finding lost keys, but come on, who's she kidding? We all know she doesn't trust him. We all know, I bet you anything you like, every time the poor guy leaves the front door, she's there checking in to see where he's gone. So if the prenup wasn't enough to give Sarper cold feet, well, I've got a feeling this new revelation might just do the trick.
Shekinah, you never married. I had the worst experience. Always I had an anxiety attack when I was close to my home when I was married.
Well, it seems like you're having that again.
Sarper tries to open up to Shekinah about why it is he's getting anxious. Your behaviour, he tells her, the way that you've changed since I've come to the States, is giving me flashbacks of my last failed marriage. So how does Shekinah respond to that? Does she perhaps hold her hands up and admit that what she's done is sneaky and wrong? Does she perhaps try to learn more about his past experiences? Maybe empathise with him, try to make him feel better? Well, no, of course not. Instead, she makes this all about herself.
He does tell me all the time he's so sure about me. But today I'm kind of realizing that doesn't necessarily mean he's so sure about getting married to me.
Hold on. Why should he be sure when it's clear that you don't trust the guy? Like, you're tracking him without his consent and you have been since he's arrived. Sorry, but her playing the victim here doesn't sit right. If someone was that unsure of me, if they were tracking me, I wouldn't want to marry them either. Now, Shekinah can see her future with Sarper crumbling before her very eyes. And this appears to cause her to backtrack on the whole prenup agreement.
If the prenup is what triggered you to now be second-guessing everything, there's a post-nup. We can always get that later.
Now, in a funny kind of way, Shekinah is right here. Hear me out. Yes, in a normal situation, ideally, you'd love to have had all of this figured out beforehand, right? But this isn't a normal situation. Their 90 days are almost up. If they don't get married, Sarper has to leave, and Shekinah's already said she's not following him. That would be it. So if they do love each other, if they do want to spend the rest of their lives together, well, they have to marry, and the rest of the details they can sort out at a later date. So do you still want to marry me? Shekinah asks, to which Sarper responds,
Yeah, you have to do it, I think.
I want you to want to. I don't want you to say I have to.
I want to be together with you, okay?
Ah, you guys, there's nothing a bride-to-be wants to hear more the day before her wedding than, yeah, we have to do it, I guess. I mean, that alone should set alarm bells ringing, shouldn't it? Now, we do know that Sarper has a lot of trauma associated with marriage. In an ideal world, he'd want to be with Shekinah, but not necessarily marry her. But this isn't an ideal world. So with that, the pair agree that the wedding, or should I say the bedding, will be going ahead tomorrow.
The way that I envision my wedding is a gorgeous big bed under beautiful chandeliers. It's just a mess though, because they're over a dining room table.
I'm sorry, but a bedding is a ridiculous idea in the first place. Sorry, Shekinah. But of course she's not happy with the bed and the chandelier. Is she ever happy with anything? Look, I know, right? I know that you're allowed to be pedantic on your wedding. Of course you are. But Shekinah takes this to a whole new level.
It's just not my style.
I know, everything cannot be perfect. We are together. Oh, that's the important thing, yeah, please. I mean, those are small things.
Sarper's absolutely right. It will be the funny imperfections that will last in their memories, and not whether or not the chandelier is glittery enough. But, unfortunately, Shekinah is too superficial to realise that, and as a result, the tears begin to flow. I don't know, like, as I watch this, I can't help but wonder, is she really crying about the bedroom, or is she crying about how much of a mess her relationship is? Whatever the case, this has left Sarper utterly perplexed.
I called her cold-blooded assassin. I mean, she can be so ruthless. I told her that I'm scared to get married, and that didn't make her cry. But right now she's crying for this.
So here we have a case of Shekinah crying, or trying to, her face isn't exactly moving, and the cause of it is a bed. But just compare that to earlier when Sarper was trying to get vulnerable with her. He was trying to share his fears with her, and guess what? There was no emotion from Shekinah at all. Nothing. I mean, is it any wonder that he's anxious about marrying her? So how do they resolve this situation? Is there a way to fix this mess? Well, eventually, Shekinah calls her wedding planner, and they save the day by, get this, literally just moving the bed under the chandelier.
Does that work?
Yes?
Thank you.
I think it's nice. So, good.
Okay.
Are you happy with it?
Yep.
Okay.
It really was that easy, which leads me to suspect maybe Shekinah's using this moment to release emotions tied to the other problems, the more serious problems that she's facing. Now, with her wedding planner's help, not Sarper's, her wedding planner's help, Shekinah eventually begins to calm down, and in fact, she even begins to look forward to tomorrow. But with such a special day coming up, with what's meant to be the happiest day of their lives coming up, the pair can't possibly go to sleep without first doing an intensive pre-wedding beauty routine.
Okay.
Wow. Being beautiful is a difficult thing.
It sure is, Sarper. Now, speaking of pre-wedding to-dos, the throuple now have a divorce to plan before their wedding can go through. It's now the last day of their time in Mexico, and Matt, Amani and Annie are in celebratory spirits. They're all drinking tequila. So what exactly are they celebrating? Well, Annie has finally been honest with her family. She's even got her aunt's blessing to marry one of them. But, of course, before they can marry, Matt and Amani first need to get divorced.
It saddens me that we're leaving tomorrow, but we're so eager to go back home and start the divorce process. The sooner we can have this divorce decree, the sooner we can start the K-1 visa.
The irony shouldn't escape anyone that here they are talking about divorcing one another so that they can then go ahead and get married in a historic church. And talk about ruining the sanctity of marriage. But, and here's the thing, even though this is the first time that all three of them have been happy in what seems like forever, Amani is about to bring up a topic that's gonna put an end to their happiness.
Who does she want to marry? She has to choose. And she has to choose before we leave tomorrow so that we know which one of our names is going to be on the K-1 visa.
So for some unknown reason, they begin to heap the pressure on Annie to make a decision right now. You need to decide here and now who you want to legally marry, they tell her. Forget the fact that it's going to take them a while to get divorced, right? Forget the fact that they're meant to be enjoying their final day together. Like, Amani just seems determined to ruin it by forcing Annie to answer an unnecessary question right now.
Here's the thing, whatever decision you make, I promise you one thing. I'm not gonna take it personal or hold it against you. No matter what, we'll be happy with the outcome. But I want you to marry me.
Yeah, right, we believe you. Amani is definitely lying when she says she's not going to take it personally. Sorry, but Annie should know that, right? If she knows Amani, then she knows this is just the illusion of choice. So why is this so important for Amani? Well, she reveals that she's always dreamed of marrying a woman because that would mean she gets to openly live out her true bisexual self. But, of course, those dreams of hers only become reality if Annie chooses her.
I want you to marry me. Pick me.
So pick me. Choose me.
I think Amani may have been watching too many episodes of Grey's Anatomy, but Annie is now ready to make her decision, and surely you'd think she said that she loves Amani more than she loves Matt.
I love you more, him.
So surely she's going to choose Amani to marry, right? Right? Well, no.
My decision is I want to marry it with you.
With me?
Yes.
Now, while we're meant to be surprised by that decision, I'm sorry, but anyone watching the show can see the way that Annie looks at Matt. Honestly, regardless of what she says to Amani, it's so obvious that she likes Matt more. She wants Matt. Now, the problem is, of course, that there is absolutely no chance whatsoever that Amani wasn't going to take that personally. Of course she was. And later on, as they're meant to be out celebrating, Amani shows that she just can't handle the rejection.
I call both on Annie's reasons to choose Matt. She's seen me change so much for her and making sacrifices for her, and she still thought it was not enough.
This right here is the epitome of taking it personally. Amani just can't seem to accept or understand Annie's choice. In fact, she goes on to tell Annie she feels like she's failed some kind of imaginary test. And Annie, in return, kind of agrees with her. Like, the way that you're reacting to this, the controlling nature that you have, is precisely why I'm not comfortable marrying you, she tells her.
Sometimes I feel too much stress about you because you want to say the boss in these relations.
And just to really rub salt in the wounds, just to make it worse, Annie then tells Amani that she thinks Matt is better at treating her like an equal. But wait a sec, I thought the whole pick someone was just a trivial decision, just for the paperwork formalities. This wasn't meant to be a character evaluation, was it? Annie wasn't meant to compare and pick who she thought was better, was she? Well, one thing's for sure, mark my words, Annie is very, very good at looking out for herself. She's already plotting 5 moves ahead of the rest of them.
Amani, she loved drama. Maybe one day ella me corre de su casa y yo qué voy a hacer con mi hija.
Like, she does make a good point, but perhaps Annie should assess why she even wants to marry someone who she thinks is capable of doing that. Why would she willingly put her daughter in that kind of position? But I guess that's a question for another day, because for right now, Amani is sitting there spiralling out of control, all because she got rejected.
Maybe you love him more, maybe you don't see yourself forever with a woman, you want to marry a man, they're just going to get married and I'm going to get kicked out of this picture.
Surely this must have been a possibility since day one, right? But it's only now that Amani's realising the reality of it. She's put herself in this position. She's put herself in a position where she's now on the outside of her own relationship. And of course, she doesn't like that. Now, those feelings, feeling like you don't actually know the person that you want to be with, is something that Mahdi can relate to. Mahdi still doesn't feel confident that he knows Stevie's true sexuality. Her inability to answer the question has left him feeling like he might not know the woman that he's set to marry. Problem is, this is the night before their wedding.
I decided to ask Stevi one more time if she's bisexual. If she keeps giving me vague answers, I don't think I'm gonna marry her at all.
Look, I really don't think it's crazy that Mahdi wants to know this about Stevie definitively before they get married. I feel like if you're getting married and promising to commit to one another, you kind of have a right to know. And whether it's a yes or a no, it is weird that Stevie has intentionally not been answering that question for so long. It does kind of make her look really suspicious. And finally, against all odds, she has a eureka moment and suddenly realises what all this uncertainty is doing to Mahdi.
I was defensive and shut off to even answering that question, which is so dumb because I could have just gave you an answer and you could have just moved on. So I'm sorry for that.
Now, Stevie admits that she didn't like how Mahdi was taking things and turning them into something they weren't, and that caused her to dig her heels in. It left her feeling like she shouldn't have to prove anything to him. But thankfully, she's now seen the error of her ways. Mahdi isn't her enemy. All he's ever done is ask a perfectly valid question that, by the way, still hasn't been properly answered yet.
The answer is no. I just allowed you to worry about it for a lot longer than you should have.
Finally! I can't believe it's taken this long for her to just be clear about this. Poor Mahdi can finally breathe a sigh of relief. He no longer needs to worry that one day his wife might leave him for another woman. And while Stevie smiles through her admission as if she's giving him good news, there's something about that smile that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Does she even realise how much torment, how much unnecessary torment she's put her fiancé through? Was any of it needed, Stevie?
Oh my God. I feel bad for not seeing Maddie's perspective. Up until this moment, I didn't see how Maddie was feeling. I only saw how I was feeling.
At least Stevie can now see that her selfishness really did affect Maddie, but her stubbornness to give an answer may have actually stemmed from something else. You see, this whole time, Stevie was hoping that Maddie would say no matter what her sexuality is, it doesn't matter to him. He'll love her the same regardless, he won't leave her. But while Maddie couldn't give her that before, now, after finally feeling confident that he knows the truth, Maddie can tell her what she wants to hear.
All I wanted you to say is that you aren't going to leave me. That's it. That's all I want, is for you to say you're not going to leave me.
That really does feel like a huge weight has been lifted off everyone's shoulders. Stevie promises Maddie that all she wants in this world is to be with him, and her words seem to put Maddie at ease. I mean, they've left this very, very late. This is the night before their wedding, but as they say, it's better late than never, right? Now, while everyone in the room seems to have some form of peace, there is still one person who Stevie is acutely aware of, that needs to back off. Saeed.
Tell Saeed I said hello and I'm not trapping you.
Bye.
And that I like you and not girls, okay? Bye.
Okay.
Love you.
If only it were that easy. The truth is, Saeed's private conversations with Maddie have left him with a lot of suspicion. Some might say too much suspicion. Like, Saeed seems to enjoy getting involved in other people's business a little too much, and it is a bit weird. Let's not forget, Saeed hadn't even met Maddie in person until a few days ago. Now, despite the fact that Maddie specifically tells Saeed what a great conversation he and Stevie had last night, for some strange unknown reason, Saeed still isn't buying it.
Do you actually feel good about this decision, about this whole thing? Are you happy? That's all I care about. This is your last chance.
Saeed, just shut up and stop overcomplicating this. Maddie wanted to know if she was bisexual, and she's now revealed that she isn't. Case closed. End of story. Why does Saeed seem hell-bent on planting yet more seeds of doubt in Maddie's head hours before he's due to wed? Now, to make matters worse, for some ridiculous reason, Saeed now feels entitled to interrogate Stevie herself on the morning of her wedding. Like, he rocks up, he thinks it's okay to interrupt her while she's in the middle of getting ready, just so that he can have this all-important chat of his.
I kind of feel this responsibility, and I'm gonna tell her that myself.
What's up? Steve, I was hoping I could have a little conversation with you sometime before the wedding.
Saeed, buddy, amigo, your screen time is over, mate. Finished. Wrap it up. Come on, this is ridiculous. And honestly, in an ideal world, Stevie and her friends would tell this guy where he can stick it. But hopefully, and we can only hope, maybe Maddie might like to man up and say it on his wife-to-be's behalf.